Jack Kramer was born in Las Vegas, Nevada in August 1921. He played lots of sports as a child. In 1934, Kramer and his family moved to San Bernardino, California. Kramer became serious about tennis when he saw a Pro Tour exhibition between Ellsworth Vines and Les Stephan in 1935. Kramer moved to Los Angeles. He reached the final of the 1943 U.S. Championships, losing to Joe Hunt. Due to war service, Kramer did not play in the event again until 1946, when he won the title beating Tom Brown in the final. At Wimbledon 1947, Kramer met Brown in the final.
I felt very comfortable because I was going to play a player that I'd had a lot of matches against and had never lost a set. Usually, the guy that's the underdog plays himself out of the match. I feel that's what Tommy did in 1947.
Kramer then won the U.S. Championships against Frank Parker in the final and then turned professional. He beat Bobby Riggs easily in the 1948 World Series. He also won the U.S. Pro in 1948 and the Wembley Pro in 1949. In 1949-50, he won the World Series comfortably against a young Pancho Gonzalez.
Gonzalez made his debut as a professional against Jack Kramer in New York. Kramer's point. He serves and continues to show that as the leading professional, he's too hot for Gonzalez, who as an amateur held the national title.
And beat experienced pro Pancho Segura in 1950-51. In 1952, Kramer took over running the Pro Tour whilst still an active player. He won the 1953 World Series against Frank Sedgman and then semi-retired, playing sporadically until 1959. Kramer's decade in charge of the pros saw most of the top amateurs sign pro contracts. An ITF vote to bring in open tennis narrowly failed, and Kramer knew that there was a lot of personal animosity towards him in the amateur establishment, so he stepped down as head of the Pro Tour in 1962, though he did sometimes organize events after that. After open tennis arrived in 1968, Kramer set up the Grand Prix circuit in 1970 and was executive director of the ATP at the time of the 1973 Wimbledon boycott. He had been a TV commentator for the BBC since 1960, and was the original host of their evening highlights show, in addition to commentating on American TV. Because of Kramer's involvement in the boycott, he was not allowed to commentate on the 1973 Wimbledon event and returned to the commentary box rarely after that. By the late 1970s, Kramer had retired from tennis activities. He had married Gloria in 1944, and they remained married until Gloria's death in 2008. Jack Kramer died of cancer in September 2009, aged 88.
You know, there's a lot of important things you got to have to be a good tennis player. But one of the most important, in my opinion, is to have a good grip. And the reason I say that is through the years, I've seen all the good players who have good sound strokes come up with a good grip as well. Number one, we go to the Western grip. And the Western grip was named because back in the old days in tennis, the balls used to bounce very, very high, particularly on the concrete courts out in California. So people developed this kind of a grip to handle high balls. And the hand was directly under the handle of the racket. And it is good for high balls. But if you move to a situation where you have to hit low balls as well, really this grip doesn't work. You also have a problem with the backhand. Moving around to what we think is the more conventional way to hold the racket. A lot of good players do it, not necessarily all of them. But we call it the shake hands grip, or hitting the ball with the palm of your hand. This is the Eastern grip. You simply slide your hand down to where it's comfortable on the handle, and the key thing to remember is the top of the handle has two bevels. The bevel on the right side forms the V between the index and the thumb finger. This is a very fine grip, and it's very, very good for low balls or high balls. You can do anything with that particular grip. Moving over on top a little further, we come to the Continental grip. And the Continental grip was developed by the English because their game was predominantly played on grass, and they found that hitting low balls, because on grass they're skiddy and low, that a little bit of a flick of the wrist using this kind of a grip was very, very successful for them. The one good thing about the Continental grip is it's identified by the V switching from the Eastern side on the top right half of the handle to the left bevel. The V is formed by the thumb and the forefinger over here. I was saying one great thing about the Continental grip is that it is practically the same grip that you'd use for a backhand. And so this is the grip that if you're going to be a single grip player, using the same grip for the forehand and the backhand, you should use this kind of a grip. It's a good one.
Jack Kramer would have been very difficult for me. I played against him a couple times when he was past his prime, and I know how difficult he would have been if we'd have been in the same age. He was terrific.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.